Alright then, well, this evening I have finished the meditations on death and impermanence. I didn't upload them. There was 2 more. I uploaded 3 out of the 5 of the series from how to transform your life, but if you want to revisit that, then you can have a listen to those videos and have the book out, How to Transform Your Life, and then like mark it off on in pencil where those contemplations start and finish. If you do that, then it should become fairly clear how you can divide up a section of text into like 5 different contemplation meditations, and they all have the same placement meditation. So that's quite easy to do with a pencil and a sharpener. A dark pencil's better with a soft rubber and a sharpener, really, so you don't make a mess. Yep. Yeah. So it's always really helpful to know when contemplation starts and when a contemplation finishes from the sources within Geshe-la's books. In that way you can not have too much to contemplate, you can reach a definite conclusion, and you can like reach a definite conclusion relatively swiftly, because meditating is much more focused in a way than studying. Yeah. So having completed those meditations on death and impermanence, the next stage in the Lamrim is the meditations on the dangers of lower rebirth. Well, in my meditation program, I've got several meditations on rebirth in the hell realms, rebirth in the hunger ghost realm, and then rebirth in the animal realm. And instead of taking you through that, something like this, which you can find in Joyful Path of Good Fortune anyway. I thought what I would do is I'd give you a reading about how to become convinced that hell realms exist. So that might be more helpful to you, so then you can like have a more of a firm belief that hell realms exist, hopefully, and then you'll be able to do the meditation without any doubts. That's what we should be aiming for. So I'll just find this in Joyful Path of Good Fortune. The sufferings of the lower realms. I might do this over a few days. We'll see how it pans out. And then I'll give you meditations on sufferings of the hungry ghost realms and sufferings of the animal realms. Right. Alright, the sufferings of the lower realms. It's well worth picking up a copy of Joyful Path of Good Fortune and reading it from the beginning of the chapter. I'll start from the first page break though here. Meditating on the suffering of the lower realms has many purposes, but the main purpose is to develop a strong desire never to take rebirth in those unfortunate states. This desire is one of the main causes of going for refuge. Through going for refuge, we can actually gain protection from the danger of lower rebirth, the danger of rebirth in the 3 lower realms. Going for refuge is the foundation of all Buddhist practices. In Friendly Letter, Nagarjuna says that every day we should meditate on the sufferings of hell beings, hungry spirits and animals. By engaging in this meditation, we develop the wish, how wonderful it would be if I did not ever again have to take rebirth in the lower realms. How wonderful it would be if in my future lives I were to take rebirth only as a human being or a god. Another reason why meditating on the sufferings of the lower realms is to reduce our pride, because we cannot be sure that we shall not take rebirth there. This meditation also increases our compassion. When we meditate on the sufferings of beings who inhabit the three realms, we naturally feel compassion for them. If we never accustom our minds to compassion by meditating on these very intense forms of suffering, how shall we ever learn to feel compassion for beings who experience more subtle kinds of misery? Unless we make an effort to develop compassion for those who experience the pains of unfortunate states of existence, we shall not be able to develop the realization of great compassion, encompassing all beings who are caught within samsara. Since great compassion is what motivates a Mahayanist to attain enlightenment for the sake of others, we can appreciate how important it is to engage in this present meditation. Right, so obviously, if you don't develop compassion by reflecting on the sufferings of beings in the hell realms, then how are you going to develop compassion when you're observing rich and famous people? You know, people who appear to have very, very fortunate circumstances in samsara. Yeah, we need to develop compassion for all beings in samsara without any partiality. The meditation has three parts: the sufferings of hell beings, the sufferings of hungry spirits, the sufferings of animals. The sufferings of hell beings, this has two parts. 1. Gaining conviction that hell exists. 2. The actual meditation on the sufferings of hell beings. So it's the first section there that I'm going to explain to you in these videos. Gaining conviction that hell exists. Although we may have conviction in rebirth, we may still have doubts as to whether or not hell exists. Therefore, before meditating on the pains of hell, we need to become certain that such pains actually exist, and that we ourselves could experience them. Hell is an unpopular subject in the West. When we hear someone talking about it, we feel embarrassed. When someone argues that hell is a mere superstition, we feel reassured. And it seems to us that this view accords with common sense. However, since the issue is so important, we should not conclude that hell does not exist unless we can base this view on perfectly valid reasoning. It is clearly unreasonable to conclude that hell does not exist merely because it is unpopular. Old age is also an unpopular subject, and if we say that to an old man, "You are still young," he will be delighted and inclined to believe this falsehood. If we say, "How old you are," he will feel miserable and think of ways of denying this manifest truth. Yet, whether he likes it or not, he is undeniably old. So, Dharma practice is all about living within reality, accepting reality. If we're an old man, we're old. If we're middle-aged, we're middle-aged. I'm middle-aged. If we're young, we're young. Simple. Don't deny things that are manifestly true. It's the same with the hell realms. There's clear evidence that hell exists, and we'll look at this later on. If we say, "Hell does not exist because I do not like the idea," this reasoning is incorrect, because it does not follow that whatever I do not like does not exist. For example, I do not like my enemy, but if I conclude that my enemy does not exist, I am liable to be harmed in a surprise attack. From this we can see how foolish it is to say, "I do not care to believe in the existence of hell." Those who do not believe in hell often regard those who do as very simple-minded. If we check, however, we shall see that it is their own view that is foolish. We need carefully to investigate the reasoning of those who deny the existence of hell. They may say, if a place exists, it must be possible to discover its location in this world. But if we search for it, we cannot find hell in this world. This reasoning is unsound because it does not follow that if something exists, it must exist as an object of human eye consciousness. For example, there are many planets and galaxies that we cannot perceive with our eye consciousness, and yet they do exist, and people believe in them. Many people accept that worlds other than their own exist. Buddhists believe in other realms, such as the God realm. Christians believe in heaven, and some scientists believe in other universes. But if we search this world with all the elaborate technology at our disposal, we shall not perceive these myriad other worlds. Even in this world, many things exist that we cannot see. Some people find it easy to accept the existence of beings who inhabit this world and yet are unseen by us, beings such as ghosts, spirits, and guardian angels. So why should it be so hard to accept the existence of hell beings? We should ask anyone who believes in the non-existence of hell to present a perfect method for realizing its non-existence. It would be wonderful if they could do this. Unfortunately, no such method exists, but there are many correct reasons that establish the existence of hell. If we attain a realization of the union of the two truths, conventional truth and ultimate truth, it is easy to gain an incontrovertible realization of the existence of hidden objects, such as hell. In the meantime, we can gain confidence in the correct view by using reasonings that we can readily understand. These reasonings are of two types. 1. Reasoning using external signs. 2. Reasoning using internal signs. So I'll conclude this tonight with reasoning using external signs. Tomorrow night I'll upload a video on reasoning using internal signs. So, reasoning using external signs. Some human beings in this world occasionally experience sufferings that are like the sufferings of hell. For example, victims of torture are sometimes subjected to severe electric shocks for long periods of time, or they are hung up and flogged so that their skin splits open, or they are slowly burnt like meat. Sometimes water is forced into their nostrils, or their eyes are gouged out. Somewhere people are dying slowly of famine and drought, and in places where wars are being fought, some people become like the inhabitants of the reviving hells, who experience terrible suffering inflicted by weapons. Some people become like beings in the hot hells, who are trapped in the midst of boiling metal and raging fire. It's true. These places, these people who are experiencing these things are in hell. It is definitely a form of hell. So hell does appear in this world sometimes. When people experience these sufferings, they inhabit what is known as a resembling or occasional hell, so called because their environment temporarily resembles an environment of hell. The existence of resembling hells is a sign indicating the existence of actual hell. Just as an osprey circling above water indicates that there are fish in the water below, and just as a volcanic eruption indicates fire beneath the surface of the earth, so resembling hells in this world indicate the existence of actual hell elsewhere. Alright, that should do for tonight. Thank you. Tune back in tomorrow. Okay.